Hello and welcome to Data Planet. I'm Emma Davis, and today's guest is Daniel Henderson, Digital Marketing Director at Glean. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, so to kick things off, tell us about Glean. Who are your customers and what do you do for them?
Yeah. We have 700 customers right now. And what we're really doing is we're this AI platform for work where we connect to all your enterprise data to help you find information, create content, create code based on your company's context and everything, or automate day to day tasks. We connect with over 100 enterprise apps. And we have what we say is like context is king. We have like one of the best contextual layers because you can get any of these other enterprise searches and stuff, but what we really pride ourselves on is the context that we have, and then also our AI security and governance. We've taken security very seriously, and you see it these days with AI kind of doing things, but yeah, we have like a really strong security layer too, that we're really priding ourselves on. But yeah, it's been doing a lot of cool things for enterprise level companies, and I use it day to day. I use it every day. I've never loved the product so much.
So, what does it sound like when someone comes to you with a need? Because what you just described was fairly general of like work. So, are they usually like, we're trying to figure this out, or we don't want to miss the AI boat? What does it sound like when they realize they could use Glean?
Yeah, I think it's that we have a horizontal platform. It's that there's a use case for every department in every industry. So we can take any problems. There's a lot of kind of knowledge sprawl. So
Mm.
I know everyone probably doesn't like searching in Google Drive because you can never find anything. But we connect to all those Google properties and even combine it with like Gong sales calls, Jira, Asana. Just go check our connectors list. There's over 100. I'm not going to list them all, but yeah,
We've got
it's
time, Daniel. Go ahead. No.
yeah, no, there's a lot to list, and there's a lot of that are my favorites, but I think that's the beauty of it is that people come in for really just kind of centralizing the enterprise knowledge, but also kind of being able to give anyone the ability to adopt AI. So that's where we find the beauty in it is like we can come in for a use case with the HR team, but then also like sales and marketing have some use case in there too. So it ends up being just a wall to wall kind of deployment that everyone can use and ask questions and get the relevant information that they need at work.
Very cool. And does it usually start that way? It starts with one specific function or use case, and then there's this opportunity. And IT's already involved, so might as well, while we're here, and it kind of grows from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of the times I see that. I don't have the hard math on that, but we have seen like a department has a use case, and then once other people see that that department's using Glean, they get really excited. They're like, "I want that for my department," right?
Hmm.
So it's kind of like this kind of land and grab kind of motion that's been working really well, and it's just we have so much confidence in it. So if we can just get in one area, we're very confident that we'll be able to like bleed out to the rest of the company too.
Awesome. And so, with that motion, what's your role? What are you tasked with doing for Glean?
Yeah, so I'm the digital marketing director. I really focus on top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel for net new prospects.
Hmm.
Pipeline is king for me. And so really got to just build the awareness and consideration and then nurture them through our sales funnel to give sales the most qualified leads so that we can actually sell to them. So this is all done through paid media, SEO, just website strategy. I do a lot of experimentation on the website, conversion rate optimization, just doing a bunch of A/B tests to make sure we give them the shortest path to conversion too, that gives them relevant information. And then just analyzing all the data from there too to see like how do we improve? How do we do better?
Awesome. And I understand that you're also an AEO practitioner. So, lest I say something that doesn't make sense in the context of AEO while I ask you follow-up questions, can you just give an overview of what is AEO and where does it fit in the XEO family of of digital marketing practices? So, yeah, give me a little bit of an overview and a little context around it.
Yeah, AEO, answer engine optimization is what it's going with. I still call it SEO, and I didn't want to change my acronyms, but I call it search everywhere optimization because search is coming to all these different fronts. Search is everywhere. It's not just Google anymore. It's not even just the LLMs too. There's so many other places that you can search. Like everyone always discredits YouTube. YouTube is the second biggest search engine too, and everyone's looking on there. But in this vein, AEO, answer engine optimization, it's really getting your content cited in LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google AI overviews. It's just getting fresh content in there to build trust and credibility, and put your name at the top of the list when people are coming into this new world of searching for things. So that's how I kind of look at it. I'm sure it's going to completely change too at one point, maybe even tomorrow. But that's how I've kind of gathered it so far in the AEO world.
Awesome. And how much of a departure is that from the original SEO, search engine optimization?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I did a lot of research last year, and what we found from the research, shout out to Kevin Indig. Kevin Indig, I've known for a while, and he helped partner on this research with me. Is figuring out like the difference between traditional SEO and this AEO motion. It what we found was traditional SEO used to be like really dependent on like traffic that's going to these articles or pages, internal linking, backlinking, and everything, and even just having like very dense keywords. And those three things really don't matter with LLM citations. And
Interesting.
that was a little shocking to me to be like, okay, how do I get this motion going if the stuff that I like got all my like kind of experience from is kind of going out the door. And I'm not going to say I ignore traditional SEO. I still have that motion, but I had to give it a whole different lens here. And so those were some of the most like eye-catching metrics that I saw that didn't really matter for citations.
Hmm.
And so the way to think about it was traditional SEO and search queries on like search engines was like 3 to 5 keywords. But nowadays, people are prompting with like 15 to 20 to like even 30 words in their prompt.
Here's my entire personal history so you have the context before I ask you this question.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
it's like, it kind of makes sense when you start thinking about that. Is like what these LLMs are trying to cite is really robust content that really answers it and isn't just focused on one thing. Like it can really capture the synonyms of like what you're trying to talk about throughout it too. And so that's where it's like trying to build deep authoritative kind of content around that is what is really going to help you get cited from my experience.
Yeah. And so is that content you're looking at rewrapping the same ideas in different ways so that it's accessible and citable depending on what an individual person searches? Or are you looking to, I want to build out this piece of content in this area and make sure I am hitting these, different phrases or different perspectives throughout that so that it's accessible or findable to anybody who's looking for this information but might be looking for it in different language?
Yeah, no, I think it's everything. Like there's definitely some other areas that I've heard of people doing this that I'm like wanting to dab into, but there's like a brand defense thing too of like people that could be giving improper information about your brand and stuff. But it's really just trying to get in front of like people looking for stuff that's relevant to you, and like the stuff that you solve for them also
Mm,
is where I've really started in the beginning. But hearing all the other use cases is definitely inspiring to be like, oh, maybe I should think about that too, right? Because like think about if you had like a device or something and someone's putting out the wrong specs on your mobile phone or something, these bigger fish are kind of going out there and really focusing on that to defend
mm,
their brand, to make sure the right information is showing up in these LLMs.
interesting. Wow. Mm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of layers that I haven't even
Really?
got into too. So I was like, yeah, this is still kind of a new world that I just like trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And so you alluded to this a little bit. The proxies for success are a little bit different with something like AEO compared to SEO. You mentioned you're responsible for top of funnel, mid funnel, bottom of funnel, actually getting valuable results. As you've been doing this research and, experimenting, are you finding you have some conclusions that you've reached. So clearly there's something that you're measuring against that lets you know this is working, this isn't. What are those measures of success?
Yeah, so one thing is like we've been able to see some hints at the click-throughs from these citations, and you can see in your referring URLs it coming from like ChatGPT or Perplexity. You just kind of have to dig, but that is the easiest way to tell the story to C-suite and leadership and everything. But it's still there is still not a lot of clicks happening on these systems, so you have to take these other monitors from different tools that I've been using to really help find these new KPIs. And so I've landed on a few KPIs. Again, it's like this is an ever evolving world that potentially those KPIs could be different in 6 months.
Like,
But
by the
right
time this episode comes out, we gotta
yeah,
record again, like
potentially, you know?
yeah.
But yeah, it's like I've found some like key KPIs so far that is telling the story at least that it's like we're showing up. People may not always click through, but when they do, this is what we're seeing. And so we have been able to tie pipeline to this referring traffic, and it just gives us the directional information to be like, hey, let's keep going for this. Like, look at these logos we're getting. Look at these kind of titles that are coming in that are filling out demo requests or downloading our content. So I think that's what I love about startup world is like when you get directional data, you kind of just have to attack it. And so we've been attacking it, not knowing the full picture and just kind of developing the story as we go. But the
Mhm.
story is really landing and it's landing externally, but then also internally, which is more important to me, is everyone's starting to get it because they're using the system too. And so they know they're not clicking through. So we're having to reevaluate that traffic isn't the king. It's more about figuring out like the other things that show us signals that this is getting in front of the right people for us.
Cool. So in, like, a zero-click scenario. So someone is doing their research, but I don't know that I want people to know that I clicked on this or that this is where I came from. Or it's just their behavior is a little bit weird. They looked it up on their phone, but they want to go to their computer. And so you don't have the benefit of that referring URL information that tells you they came from one of those LLMs to really, some people talk about it as a matter of taking credit versus figuring out what's working so that you know what to invest in and what to invest less in. Um, so what kind of directional movement or what's the magnitude of the directional movement you've seen so far? Because I think you're right. And I think that's right with digital marketing in general. Um, you're never gonna know 100% of what's going on, and so it's all a matter of some, like, strategic card game of, like, "Well, I know I'm holding these cards in my hand. I know they already played this, so this is left somewhere in the deck," and you're, like, kind of doing this math of based on what you can see and what you know you can't see, how confident are you in this next step, and how are you gonna know if that's working? It sounds like that's kind of the game that you've been playing with these AEO changes.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I love that was a really good way of putting it too.
Thank you.
It's like I always think of that quote that's like, I forget who said it, but it's like, I know 50% of my marketing is working. I know 50% isn't working. I just don't know which 50%. And it's like kind of like sometimes that's what it feels like. But really, it's like I really leaned on some of these tools that have come out that I've built a lot of trust and learned about how they're like validating it. And so it may not be a shock to a lot of people, but Profound and AirOps have been like the top visibility ones that I use. I really drilled into them when I was trying to purchase these tools about like, hey, where are you guys getting this data? Like, how are we figuring this out and stuff? And they're really like purchasing a lot of this from these LLMs to be able to inform people and give them these analytics. And so you do get limited about how many you can track. Like I could say I'm tracking about 1,500 prompts right now that I find very valuable. And
Okay.
that's after 3 quarters of really pushing this initiative. We've had a lot of good signals showing that, oh, we're getting in the right area. If we're getting cited in these main topics and everything, let's keep doing that because that's even more important for the brand to be top of mind. Because it's also there's stuff that you're not going to see. And there was this Google and Bain research a long time ago that I think a lot of people at Glean are bought into on the marketing front. Is that 92% of buyers um, from their day one of trying to purchase new software, they already have a short list, and like 92% of them buy from that short list. Even if they go explore like 10 other tools, they usually fall back to that original short list. So how do you stay top of mind? How do you get in there? And that's where you need to look for those signals to make sure that you are showing up for those main prompts that you want to be known for. And so what I could say is from those tools is like the biggest one I really like is the citation share. Just knowing we're getting cited, even if I'm not getting the traffic from it on my back end, I
Mhm.
can see that I'm getting more visibility on these prompts, and it gives me faith that the right things are getting cited. So we're at least showing up. And then how do we do more and more of that?
So, for someone who lives squarely in the paid digital world and not in the organic world, can you talk a little bit about what does a citation mean? Is that the organic equivalent of an impression? Like you showed up when someone looked for something, whether or not they
Yeah,
engaged.
yeah, it could be kind of like a impression. The way I'd say it is like the answer that's being generated in like ChatGPT, it could have multiple sources. Like one answer it gives you could have like three sources cited. And so
Got it.
sometimes like you being there, especially at the top, is like the first citation there is really valuable, I see. But we could be mixed in with other people, and that's where we just like to make sure we're part of the mix so that we become top of mind and everything.
Very cool. And how has the transition into this AEO strategy, has that changed your strategy with any of your other channels, or is it a little like, okay, keep those kind of keep those steady and we're going to tinker with this right now, or is it like, oh, you know what? Actually, based on what we're seeing here, let's start doing this differently in social. Let's start doing this differently in paid search, and like how is that changing the makeup of your overall marketing strategy?
Yeah, it's like I'm starting to see things like really tied together. And so
Mm,
the one I'll start with that's more recent that I'm really getting kind of excited about is because we have such a good presence on LinkedIn already, but we've started seeing these signals of LinkedIn like organic posts getting cited and like certain structures in these posts actually getting cited too. And so we're really trying to develop a playbook on that because we already have such a good organic presence on because it's like shout out to my CEO Arvin. He's such a big guy that wants to just kind of blast his thought leadership out there, kind of show people where the world is going in his mind and everything. And he's
mm,
become like a LinkedIn top voice. So we have that luxury of having our CEO really pushing out content that is super in tune with where the world's going. But what we've started seeing is LLM citations getting on there, and like LinkedIn posts showing up, and we're like, okay, so how do we figure out what's like the golden nugget to like make sure it gets cited? So we're actively working on that, but we've already gotten some hints of like carousel ads. I mean, not ads, carousel kind of like photos in there are getting cited more often than things that are not, and that's been like a little
interesting.
interesting that we're trying to toy around with, but still trying to figure out everything in that vein. So yeah, I think that one's really exciting. The one that I could say that I'm a little intimidated by is Reddit. Reddit's organic strategy seems so cumbersome. It's like I appreciate Reddit. I love the community on Reddit, but it's like I know the tactics that I would have, I'd probably get banned immediately, but still
Mhm.
trying to figure out the exact way to get into like Reddit communities and stuff to like hopefully inform and get those cited. But yeah, that's a tricky one that I still have not figured out. So if anyone else hasn't figured that out, do not worry. I have not figured it out either.
It's tricky organically, it's tricky for paid, like, it's people give such confusing mixed signals that don't make sense in any other channel. They're so sensitive to manipulation or advertise, that they just I remember when we first started testing ads on Reddit and that first came out, and it was a bloodbath. Like, people were just like, "We don't want you here. Get out of here." So,
Yeah, right? It's
yeah,
yeah, it's scary, but it's also I'm a huge Reddit user too. It's like I love Reddit.
yeah.
So that's where it's like I'm not trying to say I'm putting out inauthentic content, but it's more like how do I make sure everyone's getting a win-win there? And so that's where it's a really touchy channel.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Well, Daniel, this was a fascinating education. Anything else AEO wise that you want to share with us? Any final flexes or brags, things that you're excited about?
Yeah, I just say is like there's is this might be kind of like building up my own company and everything, but Glean
This is
has
the
this
spot to
kind of
do
like
it.
really great like all of their orchestration throughout all of our enterprise apps is showing me like getting our first party data has been like really strong in doing all the content creation for this LLM citation. So I mean, if you don't have Glean, then hopefully you have something that connects all that data. But I've been really unlocked because I have Glean crawling all my Gong sales calls with prospects and customers to get these topics that I have confidence that no one else has this data. So I can go confidently go after these prompts that I want to show up for.
Hmm.
And that's really helped us have a unique kind of strategy is that then once we get the topics, we go like build out the content and then QA it also with some Glean agents to make sure we're not harming traditional SEO. And so that's where I think we've had a lot of success because we've been really due diligent in our QA process and making sure we have unique data to then satisfy this LLM citation world, but then also make sure traditional SEO isn't getting harmed. So that's kind of the flow I'd say is like working out really well for us. So um,
Nice.
it's been fun,
It's really beautiful when you see the marketing team like drinking their own company's Kool-Aid, but it's working for them.
right?
It just makes you that much more informed in how do I tell people about how awesome this is? And um, yeah, it's great that it's working for your 700 plus customers, and it's even more telling, I think, that it's working for you guys. So kudos and thanks again for the education today.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, listeners, if you want to learn more about Daniel and Glean, details will be in the show notes. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today on Data Planet.
It was a pleasure.